basically. Timeline is something you can say reality. You are in a particular reality at this moment, but there are many other realities also. It's a bit it's going inside the into the realms of philosophy and physics together. And according to quantum physics, hmm, there are many realities in this universe. There is a reality in which we are living, and there are other realities also in which we are living. There is a different version of me in a different reality, and in some realities the things are maybe 99.9999% same with this reality, while in some other reality it is completely different. Now there are certain realities, in fact, the closer the timelines are, more similar they are with this current timeline. Now till now everything is clear. Let's say a closed in total there are infinite numbers of timeline. Now infinity itself cannot exist. A very high number is described by us as infinity. Let's say a billion to the power of billion to the power of billion and to the power of billion. Now this tremendously high figure is not possible to calculate. It's not possible to calculate. So we say it's infinite. So you can say there are billions of timelines are there. Okay, the ones which are close to us, they may have a similar past, very similar past. In fact, it can be identical. Maybe they are branching off from this present moment. They are branching off, and previously everything was same. It can be so. And then there are certain timelines where everything is different, where you are not even a human being, you are something else in that timeline. Maybe they are quite far away from this current timeline and not possible for us to access at this moment. Even when we talk about the past, we can say we think let's say past. What we say when we say it's past means the events which have occurred previously till the current date. That's past. Now, do we really remember the past? That's a very important question. We don't remember the past, event by event. Now, if you ask me about my lifetime, about my life on my 17th year, when I was 17 years old, at that time, what I used to do. Now I can remember the gross facts, where I used to stay, the address, the school in which I used to study. All these things I can remember, my family members, everything I can remember. But the minor facts like what did I have for lunch on a particular day, I won't be able to remember. What I did exactly on a particular day, I won't be able to remember. Only I would be able to remember certain facts, certain important facts or gross facts. Now you can say that it can happen that at present I am in a different timeline from where I was on those days in those days. It can be possible very much that this reality is different from that reality, and in that reality only the gross facts and the main events match up with this reality. The other minor things are completely different. Maybe maybe on when I was 17 years, 2 months, 5 days old. On that day I had a particular thing for dinner. Now if I go back in this timeline, okay, I think I am clear. I mean, in that timeline, Now, I don't know. I have branched. I have moved to a different timeline. Maybe I am not aware of that. Now, what happens if I go back in past? I'll be going back in the same timeline in which I am now at this moment. In this time, let's say I was in the timeline T1 in those days. Somewhere down the line, unconsciously, I moved on to timeline T4, maybe T4. At this present, I am in T4. In those days, I used to be in T1, let's say. Now, if I am going back in time, I'll go back in time in T4. I won't be going back to T1. In T4, what I had done in my 17th year, on that particular day, I will be going back on that day in T4 and not in T1. And there suddenly I see maybe I have written something different, something completely different on that day. You got it? It's a bit confusing. I was in T1. I have unknowingly shifted to T4. Sometimes I don't know when. This is all hypothetical. Now, why I am trying to going back to my 17th year, I will go to the 17th year of this current timeline, which is T4 and not T1. And on that particular day, maybe the things in this timeline were quite different from T1 on that particular day. But since the gross things or the important things are same in both T1 and T4 till now, I am not getting any effect because of that change. I think I have been able to explain this to you. It's a bit confusing subject. Okay, you got it. I think you got it. This is the way timeline jumping, unconscious timeline jumping, things are getting removed, things are getting moved on, reshuffled, everything is happening. Now, let's say if you want to go to a different timeline, which is where you, let's say you are earning more money, earning more money, or you are overall you are happy. From your current situation, you are overall happy in that timeline. May or may not be earning more money, but overall you are happy. Now, we are 3D beings. We really don't have a computer in front of us telling us what the various timelines and where we are in the various timelines. We don't have that knowledge. A 5D being has that knowledge, but we don't have that knowledge. We are 3D beings. Even if we have a 460 consciousness, still we are a 3D being. So it's like jumping in the dark. Be aware of this fact. It's like jumping in the dark. Now you meditate, you try to manifest. Now what happens really? Let's say now you are in T4. You have moved on to, let's say, T8. You have moved on where you are better. A better version of you is there already. You have just shifted your consciousness from this to that version. Now in T8, the and is T4. The past, the gross events of the past, the important events of the past were same. They may be applicable to you or to in humanity in general. Same. Let's say who become the prime minister of your country, the same person in T4 and T8 is the same person, nobody else. So you really won't be able to know, since the gross event, maybe on a particular day you failed in your examination, and that thing is the same in T4 and T8, it's same. The basic things are same. You won't be able to differentiate. Even if you move to T8, you will think that means you won't be able to know that you have really moved on. Yes, but the life becomes the general standard of your life betters. Yes, you have moved on, but since the past, the gross events of the past were same, they are same basically. So you think that the past is same. We are branching off at this moment. No, but you are not branching off basically. The past is also not same. Only the major events were same, which you remember till now. The major events were same in T4 and T8. So you think the past is unaltered. It has been altered. The minor details of the past, it has been altered. I'll just tell you one thing. It happened many years ago. I was no, it maybe my mistaken my perception. I don't know, but it happened. Although I'm not sure, 100% sure, but I'll just share it here. There was a cricket match going on, and a particular batsman was out in a particular manner. It was a Yorker was given. He tried to block the Yorker. He had moved sideways. Did not expect an Yorker, but it was a Yorker, and he tried to lay his bat perpendicular or how is it, horizontally to the ground to stop the Yorker, but he couldn't do that, and he was bowled. Now I was under the impression that particular thing happened in the last over of the match, but a few days ago, this thing happened more than 20 years ago, 30 years ago, basically, this cricket match. Now, that day I was just looking at the highlights of that match. Now I came to say that this thing did not happen in the last over. It happened in third last over. It was a 30 over match. It happened in somewhere in 28th over. This thing happened. Now maybe I had forgotten that I was a child in those days. Maybe I had forgotten that. Maybe I have in a different timeline. How do I know? In this timeline, this has happened. In that timeline, that had happened. But it's a very minor change. A cricket match in which I am seeing a batsman is not in a certain manner. This is not something which happens every time. It doesn't have an effect on us, basically. It doesn't have an effect on us day to day life. But even if you are shifted to a different timeline, even if you shift in future to a different timeline, you won't be able to shift to a timeline which is, let's say, many at a high distance from t1. You won't be able to shift to a timeline, let's say, t1 million. That won't be possible. If you are shifting from t1, you will be moving somewhere near till t100. That's all. T100, t150, maximum 200. These are all hypotheses. I'm trying to say that you are going to a timeline which is nearer to your current timeline, nearer, not very far from that timeline. And since it is quite near, the past events, the gross events, the main events are unaltered. Perhaps the many minor events are altered, but since we don't know the details, as I told you in the beginning, I don't know what I ate on a particular day 15 years ago. I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe in this timeline I had eaten something else. Maybe in that timeline I took some other food, which actually it won't be possible for me to remember. Even under hypnosis also, it won't be possible for me to remember that. This is timeline jumping. There are minor differences are there, but since they're not over the major things, we think that the past is same. The past is not the same. Minor things are there do which are quite different. That's all for now on. Thank you very much.